many of us, we wonder about church and faith in general. Is this gonna make things better or worse? Is it gonna be fun? Will I be happier? Is it worth it? Will it make my life better? We don't necessarily ask these out loud because it will feel weird. But if you really think about it, you've probably thought about these questions once or twice. After all, there are people who talk about faith in God like it makes their life way better. They use words like life-changing. Maybe you've heard someone tell their story about how they started following Jesus and their life changed in a really good way. Stories like that are great, but if you're anything like me, maybe you found yourself wondering, is that really possible? How can following a guy that lived 2,000 years ago do all of that for my life? How can a religion with so many rules make my life more fun or enjoyable? Does faith in God really make your life better? If you're asking these questions, I want you to know that they're not bad or wrong. In fact, questions like this are what the whole series is about. We've been talking about the idea of a prism. If you look at it one way, it's kind of ordinary, but when you shine a light on it or change the angle, you see something you've never seen before. We've also been talking about how Jesus is a lot like that. When we take a closer look at who Jesus really is, there is always more to discover than we see or than meets the eye. So if you've ever wondered if following Jesus can really make your life better, you are not alone. In fact, for thousands of years, people wondered what God was really like and whether following him was good or bad for their life. In fact, one of the reasons Jesus came to earth was to give us a better picture of what God was like. Then, when he showed up, and when he taught, and with how he lived, it was different than what everyone expected. In his teachings, Jesus often used illustrations that were a part of everyday life back then. And because people were very familiar with shepherds during that time, one of those illustrations was about sheep and their shepherd. It was a concept everybody would get. It would be like you and I hearing about the mailman or the car mechanic. Shepherds took care of and protected their sheep all the time. It was their job to make sure their sheep were safe and in good shape. And in this particular teaching, Jesus refers to himself as the Good Shepherd, and to us as his sheep. He takes care of us, moves us where we need to go, and helps us rest in safety. It's a nice little word picture. Then right in the middle of his teaching, Jesus makes a huge statement. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. To me, this feels really random. We were just talking about sheep, sure, but then thieves were a problem. It was a real thing that someone might steal or hurt your sheep, but Jesus is talking about himself as the Good Shepherd. How is a thief even part of this conversation? Then Jesus continues, and it gets even more interesting. The thief comes to only steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it in full. Jesus is making a point. He's showing the difference between him and the thief. This is why a thief shows up to steal, kill, and destroy. This is why I show up to offer full life. In other words, you know what a thief is like, but that's not God. And honestly, it makes sense why Jesus would say that. The truth is, oftentimes we don't see Jesus as the Good Shepherd. Instead, we're tempted to see him more as the thief. We think Jesus is all about stealing our fun. We think that following Jesus will kill our relationships. We think that Jesus will destroy our personality and turn us into religious robots. We think that if we follow Jesus, our future will be stolen, killed, and destroyed. We'll have to give up our dreams, give away everything we really want, and live a boring life. The point is this: when it comes to Jesus, we're all tempted to think that he wants to take something away from us. Maybe that's why Jesus brought this up. He knew his followers would think something about him that wasn't true. So he takes a moment to make sure his audience has the right idea about who he is. Jesus is saying, I didn't show up to take away your life. That's what the thief does. I'm no thief. I've shown up to make sure you have a life. Not just any life. In his words, he wants to give us a life that is full. Jesus' goal isn't for us to have a less life. He wants to give us more life, a better life. And that's so much different in many ways. Because somewhere along the way, maybe in church or on social media, we got this idea that God wants to take away anything we want for our lives. But that's not true. So does Jesus wanting us to have a full life mean that we'll get everything we want? Everyone will want to date us. We'll have 1 million friends or followers. It'll rain down Doritos from the sky. We'll never get bored. We'll never get our feelings hurt or feel pain. Nope, it doesn't mean that. But it does mean that we can trust that by following Jesus, He will lead us towards more of what we really want in life. Things like more fun. Maybe you've never thought of it this way, but did you know that God invented fun? God created the part of your brain that lights up when you're having a great time with friends. Happiness and enjoyment were God's ideas. Jesus didn't come to take away our opportunities to have a good time. Instead, He says, let me show you a way to live that brings more, bigger joy, that doesn't fall apart just because you had one bad day. A joy that's bigger than just the moment. The goal was never less fun, it was more. Great relationships. The truth is, we all want a solid, real friendship. Following Jesus can make you better at finding those kind of friends and being that kind of friend. God invented friendship and community. Ultimately, Jesus wants you to find more of the right kind of people and have better relationships with them. Personality. This is a big one. Somewhere we got the idea that Jesus wants to take away our personality or make us less interesting, but actually the opposite is what's true. Jesus wants to use the ways that we're different, including our unique gifts, our unique talents, and a unique way He has wired us. The goal isn't to be like anyone else, it's to be more of who He created us to be. Our hopes and dreams. What if Jesus didn't want you to dream for less? What if He wants you to dream for more? What if Jesus has bigger dreams for you than you do? What if He never tries to hold you back, but is trying to pull you towards a bigger, more full, more fulfilling, more joyful life than you ever imagined? Jesus wants more for us than just giving us the right now things that we want. He's not a genie or a vending machine. He's deeper than that. He wants to lead us to more peace, joy, purpose, adventure, and community. More of the good stuff that makes life awesome in ways that we might not expect. I think that's what Jesus was getting at in the passage we looked at today. He didn't come to steal, kill, and destroy. He came to help us have real life. Think of it like this. Because of Jesus, we can live life to the fullest. So, how does this work? How do you find the more, better, fuller life that Jesus talks about? I think it may be simpler than we think. For some of you, the first step is saying yes to Jesus for the first time. Maybe you've always thought that Jesus was angry or boring, or that following Him means living a miserable life. Today, I'd like you to consider this question. What if that isn't true? What if there's another view of Jesus based on who He really is? What if there's a better view of what Jesus could change in your life? What would it look like for you to say yes to someone who can change your life for the better? For others of you, you've already said yes to a relationship with Jesus, but you haven't experienced the abundant life that He describes. Maybe for you, it's time to say yes to the things that Jesus says yes to. As His followers, so much of what Jesus commands us benefits us and makes our lives better, just as it does the people around us. What if this week you just said yes to serving someone? So much research tells us that serving someone else can actually make our own lives better and happier. Serving isn't something that a serious, no fun God would ask us to do. It's something that makes everybody's lives better, including yours. So what's one way that you could help someone else today? You could volunteer with HCC or Hope Kids with Ms. Dana. They'll love you. Volunteer at a middle school or an elementary school and help them with their homework. You'll be their hero. Volunteer for a mission trip. You may get to combine all those things that I said above with a huge adventure. Identify something and try it this week. Listen, I understand that people don't always talk about Jesus like this. In fact, sometimes you hear people describe following Jesus like it's all rules and no joy. That's why I wanted you to see Jesus from a different angle today, to discover who He is and why He came to earth. When you know who Jesus really is, it changes everything. Because of Jesus, we can live life to the fullest.